Business Essentials Podcast. Unlock your career.
Learn to speak business English like a pro.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Marcus, and today we're diving into something that determines whether your carefully written email ever gets read, your opening line. You've probably spent hours perfecting your pitch, your value proposition, your call to action. But here's the brutal truth. If your opening line doesn't grab attention in the first 3 to 5 seconds, none of that matters. Your email gets deleted before anyone even sees your brilliant message. Today, we're also focusing on persuasive communication skills in business English. So pay attention to how we use that language. The phrases Sarah shares today are the ones that actually break through inbox clutter. So Sarah, let's jump right in. Why is the opening line such a make-or-break moment?
Here's what most people don't realize. 57% of emails never get opened at all. And for the ones that do get opened, recipients are making a judgment call in the first 3 to 5 seconds about whether your email deserves their attention. That opening line is literally the gatekeeper to your entire message.
3 to 5 seconds? That's incredibly short.
It is. When your email lands in someone's inbox, their brain instantly evaluates it. This first impression activates either the brain's reward center, releasing dopamine, that feel-good chemical, or it triggers a disgust response that sends your email straight to trash.
So it's almost like a binary decision, reward or reject.
Right. And the opening line determines which pathway gets activated. If your opening proves relevance, shows genuine research, or creates curiosity, the brain's reward system kicks in. If it's generic, self-focused, or obviously automated, the brain categorizes it as spam and you're done.
Okay, so give me an example. What does a bad opening actually look like?
The classic mistake? Starting with something like, "Dear Sir" or "Madam," or even just, "Hello," followed by, "My name is John Smith, and I'm reaching out because I think we could help your company." That's what I call a self-focused opening. It violates what we call the reciprocity principle.
For our listeners learning English, can you break down that term, reciprocity principle? What does that actually mean?
Sure. Reciprocity is basically the human instinct to return favors. When someone gives you something of value first, an insight, a resource, genuine acknowledgement, you instinctively feel obligated to give something back. It's hardwired into us from childhood.
So basically, give before you ask?
Right. But most opening lines do the opposite. They immediately ask for attention, time, or a meeting without providing any value first. Research shows that warm outreach with value-first openings achieves response rates of 10 to 34%, while cold emails with self-focused openings get only 2 to 10%. That's a 5-fold difference, largely determined by how you open.
So what should they do instead? Give me a concrete example.
Instead of, "My name is John and I'm reaching out to discuss our product," you'd open with something like, "Sarah, I noticed your recent post about scaling customer support with a 25-person team. Your point about early-stage onboarding friction really resonated. We published research on this exact challenge."
Oh wow, that's completely different.
That opening proves 3 things immediately. I've done my research, I understand your specific situation, and I have something relevant to offer. The recipient's brain flags it as intentional rather than automated, and that dramatically increases the likelihood they keep reading.
Let's drill down into personalization. Everyone says personalize your emails, but what does that actually mean?
That's a great phrase, by the way. Drill down into means to examine something in detail, to really dig into the specifics.
How would you use that in a real meeting?
You might say something like, "Let's drill down into the customer feedback to understand exactly where we're losing people." It's common when you want to move from high-level discussion to specific analysis.
Got it. So back to personalization. What does real personalization look like?
This is where most people get it wrong. They think inserting the recipient's first name counts as personalization. But research from analyzing 11 million emails shows that first-name personalization alone actually increases open rates by only 8%. And when it's obviously automated, it can even decrease response rates.
So just saying, "Hi Sarah," isn't enough?
It's better than "Dear Sir" or "Madam," but it's nowhere near enough. Real personalization means spending 3 to 5 minutes researching the recipient individually. You reference something specific about their company: recent news, a product launch, a LinkedIn post they wrote, an article they published.
Can you give me a specific example of that deeper personalization?
Instead of, "Hi, Sarah, I hope this email finds you well," you'd say, "Sarah, your presentation at the SaaS Growth Summit about customer retention frameworks was excellent, particularly your insight about the 90-day onboarding window. We've actually built our product around this exact principle."
So you're acknowledging their professional work?
Right. That opening proves you've consumed their content, understood their thinking, and found a genuine connection point. It triggers what neuroscientists call the cocktail party effect, the brain's ability to focus on personally relevant information amid noise.
What's another common mistake you see in opening lines?
The long-winded opener. People start with 3 sentences of pleasantries before getting to the point. Something like, "I hope this email finds you well. I've been following your company for some time, and I'm impressed with your work. I wanted to reach out because I think we might be a good fit."
That sounds pretty normal, honestly.
It does, but here's the problem. Research shows the average email reading time is 11.1 seconds. If you spend the first 3 sentences on generic context setting, you've already wasted half the attention span you're going to get. By the time you reach your value proposition, 40% of readers have already moved on.
So you need to get to the point immediately.
Immediately. The most effective opening lines are one focused sentence, ideally 4 to 12 words, that immediately establishes relevance. Something like, "Your article about AI cost reduction got 50,000 views last week. We've helped 8 companies implement the exact framework you described."
That's so much more direct.
And it respects their time. When recipients see that one tight sentence proving you've done your homework, they immediately understand this email was written specifically for them, not mass sent to 500 people.
Play a role in opening lines?
Huge role. This ties into what behavioral economists call the curiosity gap, the tension between what someone knows and what they want to know. When your opening creates that gap, the brain automatically wants to close it.
Can you give me an example of how that works?
Instead of a statement like, "We help companies improve efficiency," you'd use a question or specific information. "Are you currently spending more than 10 hours a week managing customer data manually?" That creates immediate curiosity. The recipient wants to know why you're asking and what solution you have.
So questions work better than statements?
When done right, yes. Research shows that subject lines and openings phrased as questions increase open rates by about 21%. And when you combine questions with specific numbers, like I just did with 10 hours a week, open rates can jump by up to 113%.
Why do numbers work so well?
Because the brain processes numerical information differently than text. Numbers create credibility through specificity. When you say 10 hours instead of a lot of time, the recipient's brain recognizes that you're speaking from data, not speculation.
Let's talk about some specific opening phrases that work. What should people actually be saying?
One of my favorites is starting with, "I noticed your recent post about," or "I saw your presentation on." That immediately proves research and creates a connection. For example, "I noticed your company just announced Series B funding. Expansion at that stage typically creates sales cycle challenges. We've documented this pattern with 12 similar companies."
So you're acknowledging something specific, then connecting it to your expertise?
Right. Another powerful opener is, "Most VPs in your position struggle with X. Your situation with Y is a perfect example." That establishes pattern recognition, shows you work with similar clients, and uses their situation as a proof point.
Can you give me that phrase exactly as you'd say it?
Most VP sales managing 20-plus person teams struggle with inconsistent pipeline forecasting. Your recent post about quarterly target misses suggests you're experiencing exactly this challenge. We've identified the root cause with similar companies.
That's really specific.
And that specificity is what makes it work. Vague value statements like, "I have insights that might help," trigger skepticism. Specific statements like, "We've identified the root cause affecting companies like yours," trigger genuine interest.
What about tone? Should opening lines be formal or casual?
Interestingly, research shows that casual greetings like hi or hello get about 7% higher response rates than formal ones like dear. People prefer natural, conversational tone over stiff formality.
So native speakers would say, "Hi, Sarah," instead of "Dear Sarah"?
In most business contexts now, yes. Unless you're in a particularly formal industry like law or finance, hi, followed by their first name, is perfectly professional and feels more authentic.
Okay, let's talk about the framework. How should someone actually structure their opening?
There's a four-phase approach I recommend. Phase 1 is research. Spend 3 to 5 minutes finding something specific about the recipient. Their recent LinkedIn posts, articles they've written, company announcements, speaking engagements.
So you're building a foundation before you even write.
Right. Then phase 2 is the actual opening line. One focused sentence that proves you've done that research. Something like, Jennifer, saw your post about tackling 90-day sales cycles. Your point about early-stage onboarding friction resonated.
And that works because...
Because it activates multiple psychological triggers. It personalizes with her name. It references her specific content. It shows agreement with her perspective, and it hints that you have relevant expertise.
What's phase 3?
Phase 3 is value delivery. The next 2 or 3 sentences where you provide something the recipient doesn't yet have. A specific insight, data, or observation that's directly relevant to their challenge. For example, the pattern we're seeing with Series B companies is consistent. Teams under 25 people struggle with onboarding new reps because there's no documented framework. Companies that implement a 14-day standard reduce sales cycles by 18 to 23 days on average.
So you're giving specific data that proves your expertise?
Right. And phase 4 is the soft connection, a brief statement that offers further value without demanding anything. Something like, I thought it would be relevant given your current focus. Happy to share the framework we've seen work best if you're interested.
So you're leaving the door open without being pushy.
You're activating reciprocity by giving value first, then making it easy for them to engage further if they want to. No pressure, no hard sell.
Give me a real-world scenario. What would this look like in practice?
Imagine you're reaching out to a VP sales at a SaaS company. You've researched her and found that she recently posted about struggling with long sales cycles. Bad opening. Hi, Jennifer. My name is Sarah, and I work with SaaS companies to help them improve efficiency. I'd love to schedule a call to discuss how we could help you.
And that fails because...
It's all about you, your name, your work, your desire to schedule a call. Zero value provided. The recipient immediately thinks, another salesperson, and deletes it. Response rate, maybe 3 to 5%.
So what's the right approach?
Good opening. Jennifer, saw your post about tackling 90-day sales cycles. Your point about early-stage onboarding friction resonated. The pattern we're seeing with Series B companies is consistent. Teams under 25 people struggle because there's no documented framework. Companies implementing a 14-day rep onboarding standard reduce sales cycles by 18 to 23 days. Thought it would be relevant given your current focus. Happy to share the framework if you're interested.
That's so different.
Completely different psychology. The first version asks for 3 things before giving anything. The second gives value first, establishes expertise through specific data, and makes an easy, no-pressure offer. Response rate jumps to 25 to 35%.
Before we wrap up, let's do a quick vocabulary recap. What were the main business English terms we covered today?
The main ones were drill down into, reciprocity principle, cocktail party effect, and curiosity gap. Remember, drill down into means to examine something in detail. You'd use it when you want to analyze specifics in meetings or presentations.
And the reciprocity principle?
That's the instinct to return favors when someone gives you value first. The cocktail party effect is the brain's ability to focus on personally relevant information amid noise, like hearing your name across a crowded room. And the curiosity gap is the tension between what someone knows and what they want to know, which motivates them to keep reading.
Great. So our listeners can use these terms when they're talking about persuasive communication, email strategy, or psychological triggers in marketing?
Right. These are phrases you'll hear constantly in marketing meetings, sales training, and strategic discussions about customer engagement.
All right, Sarah, before we finish, what's the one thing you want people to take from this episode?
Your opening line is not about being polite or setting context. It's about immediately proving relevance, demonstrating research, and activating psychological triggers that make engagement feel natural. The difference between a 10% response rate and a 40% response rate often comes down to that single opening sentence. So invest the 3 to 5 minutes to research your recipient, lead with specificity, give value before asking for anything, and watch your response rates transform.
Here's what we want from listeners. Take your next 5 outreach emails and apply this framework. Spend the 3 to 5 minutes researching, write one specific opening line proving that research, and track your response rate.
And if you're currently using generic openers like "Hope you're well," test the difference. Send one email with your old approach and one with the new framework to similar prospects. The data will prove whether opening lines really matter.
Sarah, your insights made everything click today. Truly outstanding. Grateful for breaking this down so clearly. Thanks for being here.
Sharp listeners, I'm signing off believing in your persuasion power. Convert those requests into yeses, you masterful communicators.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Next episode, we're diving into something even more challenging. We're talking about how to transform "Can we schedule a meeting?" into "Yes, I'm free Tuesday." You think getting a meeting is just about asking? Think again. We'll show you the exact language patterns, psychological triggers, and strategic approaches that turn cold meeting requests into enthusiastic acceptances. This is the episode that closes the loop on turning email engagement into actual conversations. You definitely don't want to miss it. See you there. Business Essentials Podcast. Unlock your career.
Learn to speak business English like a pro.